Hey y'all, welcome to Good Deeds and Dirty Work, where small town business meets real grit. I'm Lauren, the co-founder of Good Deeds Cleaning Company and Good Deeds Haul It All, built alongside my husband Eddie. And this is where we talk about what it really takes to build something from the ground up. So, a little backstory. My husband has lived in Mineral Wells for since he was 15. Um, I was born and raised in Weatherford but we've lived in Mineral Wells for 17 years now. We'll be married for 18. We've been married for 18 years, going on 19. We have two kids who have been born and raised here in Mineral Wells. And I mean, that's what comes first for me is I'm a wife and I'm a mom. Um, and we just wanted more than just surviving. We were living paycheck to paycheck. I think everybody pretty much is right now. Um, we were literally just sitting on the couch one day. My husband's like, he drives a concrete truck, so he gets off fairly early sometimes, and he was like, "Hey, let's get a dump trailer and just start a side business." So that's kind of where it started. So with the hauling, um, we went and got a dump trailer. I would say that we should have gone with finding a used one instead of getting a brand new one. But that's what we did. So we got a brand new dump trailer and just started posting. I, at the very beginning, had said, hey, if we're going to try to make this a business, eventually maybe we can just work for ourselves. Let's just go ahead and do the LLC. So we went ahead and got the LLC for Good Deeds Haul It All. We had the dump trailer. I worked at Randy's Service Center in Mineral Wells at the time and had the opportunity to buy a truck from a customer. And it was an older truck, but it was what it was, and it was a good running truck. So we started out with that 2004 Chevy, and it did really good for a little bit. Memorial Day of 2025, well, not the day before Memorial Day, we were hauling, I don't know, like 8 or 9 loads of um, field dirt. And the truck started overheating. And so July or May in Texas, overheating truck, having to run the heater nonstop that was a deal breaker for me. I'm not a passenger princess, but that was a little too much. So Memorial Day, we went, traded that truck in, got us a 2013 Chevy 2500, and that truck has been amazing. Haven't had any issues with it overheating now. So we've got the truck and the trailer, and we just started posting it and doing we started it with hauling jobs, but we started getting more and more calls for junk removal. So we were like, hey, whatever, we'll do some junk removal. So we started getting everything going, and we were getting quite a few calls. It really picked up, and we just kind of did it on the weekends when we were both off work from our regular jobs. Um, the issue with junk removal is some people don't want to pay for junk removal. They just think my junk disappears. They don't think that, you have to have somebody to load it up. You have to have somebody to sort it out. Somebody has to pay to dispose of it if we're going to dispose of it properly, which of course that's what we want to do. It doesn't just disappear for free. So I would say that's our biggest struggle we had is customers not realizing what they're paying for. We're fully insured, so that doesn't just cover us, it also covers our clients. And that makes it harder for some people to understand because they're thinking it's just trash. Why would we pay somebody, you know, X amount of money to come and get our trash? But we did stay pretty steady. We did a couple gravel driveways where we built them and brought it in, used a skid steer and did all that. And it stayed steady. But then I started thinking we had several homeowners who wanted us to come and get junk out of the house that was left from previous tenants. So I was like, what can we pair up that's a more of a steady income, still working for ourselves, that will partner with the hauling? Good Deeds Cleaning Company comes in. So we started offering the bundle package of, we'll get all the junk out, and then we'll go in, clean the house, and it's ready to go. It's ready to be rented unless it needs like some repairs and stuff. Um, and so that's where Good Deeds Cleaning Company came in. I was still working at Randy's at this time. He's still in the concrete truck. And so we got the LLC for Good Deeds Cleaning Company, started promoting that on Facebook. That's really been the only place we've really promoted has been on Facebook. Um, it just made sense because it partnered so well with the junk removal. And that seemed to be our biggest, what we got the most calls for was junk removal. Um, my first job was actually from the owner, Randy, at Randy's Service Center. He had a um, rental property, and we went and did the junk removal out of it. And then I went and did the move out clean and got it all ready for the next tenant and had it rented. I think we had it rented in a few days after I did the clean. So my current boss at that time was my first client, and he's fully supported me through all of this, even once I left. So I just stayed at it, and Randy let me kind of work my schedule around. And so I had a couple days off during the week, and that's where I'd put the houses. And then I just kept getting more and more and more houses. So I started the cleaning business in July. I left Randy's in September, and that became my full-time job. And I absolutely love it. Um, Now, fast forward to January of 2026, I had to hire my first employee. I was planning to stay solo, but as I grew and I started getting some of the much bigger houses, I realized I'm not a 20-year-old anymore, and I'm not going to be able to grow my business to be something more if it's just me. So I hired my first employee in January. Um, that took a little bit of weight off of me where we can do some of the bigger houses as a team. I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of step out, let her take over these smaller houses, give me more time to do marketing, networking, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, I grew even more. And I just hired my second employee. So she starts training this week. Super excited. It still seems so unreal that I own my own business and I have two employees. That just sounds crazy to me. Of course, through the holidays, the junk removal has kind of slowed down. It's starting to pick back up, and cleaning business is staying steady and growing. So that's good. So that's really has become our foundation, is the cleaning business. And then anything we get with the junk removal it just helps to build. Our goal for this year is to get Eddie full time in the business. I think that's been our biggest struggle is he's still working his regular full time job on top of doing the hauling. I help him with the hauling whenever if I'm not cleaning houses or if I don't have a house that day. And we just work around his work schedule. So most of our clients have been super understanding about that. And they're like, whatever day you can come, let's do it. So that's been really nice. And we're able to fill in those times when he's off. With the cleaning business, it took me a little while to build systems, especially since I knew I was getting ready to hire. I was like, okay, it's one thing for me just to have it on my Google Calendar. But now that I'm managing people, I need some more things in place. So I've really been working on getting policies, and of course I've had to change a couple because I'm like, ooh, I didn't have this, or oh, this needs to be reworded. But we got Jobber for the cleaning business, and I absolutely love Jobber. It does all our scheduling, all the payments go through there. It makes life so much easier. Shout out to Jobber. And just really started getting all of it to where it's more streamlined. Um, I mean, there's still a lot for me to do, but it's in a lot less steps. So that's made it really nice. We're we're two separate businesses. That's how we have it set up. And it has they both just go off. I mean, our last name is Deeds, if you don't know that. So that's where the good deeds came in, but we both have a heart to help people. And so we really wanted that to show in our business name. So the good deeds, that's where it comes from. Good Deeds Haul It All, Good Deeds Cleaning Company. We love to help out in our community. We have integrity. We want our business to stand for what we stand for. Doing things right. We're not out to rip people off. And I know, like I talked earlier about, um, just people don't understand what they're paying for, especially with the junk removal. You see it some in the cleaning too, but they don't understand that we're not just Joe Blow on the side of the street who's going to come and get rid of your junk and probably throw it off down another street. We are a full business. We're insured for their protection and our protection. We pay the dump fees. We get rid of it properly. We take things where they need to go. And so that has been harder for customers to understand. But we're not out to rip people off. We want to be fair. We're not rich. We're not out to become rich. We just want to be able to survive and to build something that we're able to hand down to our children. We have a son and a daughter, and that's our plan, is to build some businesses that we can hand down to our children one day, and that will be able to support them as well. So that's really where we came from. That's what really got us started. It was supposed to be side businesses, both of them. But they're definitely growing into more than that, as I'm sure a lot of people have found out with starting side businesses. So we're super, super excited about it. I'm super excited to see the growth that we're having and what it's going to change into. I just know I've been in business for 7 months with the cleaning business, and I've already had to hire 2 people. So I cannot wait to see what 2026 has in store. Um, I I decided to start the podcast kind of for a journal of what we're going through. I want to talk about the struggles of being a business owner, starting from nothing. We didn't have money put up in savings. We were living paycheck to paycheck when we decided to start both of these businesses. And that's what I want to talk about. I want to be real. Heck, you might see me in my PJs on this podcast some days, or right after work where I'm a hot mess. So, it's real. I want to be real. Um, this podcast is for other business owners, for the ones who are building quietly, for the ones who are doing the dirty work that nobody sees, for local entrepreneurs. And I'll be able to talk some days and some days I won't. Um, my goal is to get other business owners locally to come onto the podcast with me, and let's talk about what they've gone through, how they built their business, and not necessarily just service-based businesses, but you know, all of us started somewhere. And so I think that this could just be a great place for all of us to come together and learn from each other and talk about what it took and what challenges we went through, and maybe be able to offer, like, hey, I did that, so but this is how I fixed it. Just to be there and help one another. So that is my goal for Good Deeds and Dirty Work. And if you are a business owner and would like to come on the podcast, shoot me a message. I'm on Facebook, Lauren Deeds, or Good Deeds Cleaning Company, or Good Deeds Haul It All. Send me a message, and let's get it scheduled. So I plan on starting probably in the next 3 to 4 weeks, trying to get some people lined up to be on the podcast with me. So remember, good deeds is built on trust and dirty work builds legacy. I'll see you next week.